Hi guys, I'm Mike and this is F1 Fanatics. Welcome back to another F1 Weekly News Show, which is where we round up all the latest news and topics from the world of F1 in the past week. And so today's one, obviously with no races, we are first week into the close season. How are you all coping? Are you okay? I don't think I'm coping okay. I need a race. But yes. We're struggling without a race, but that doesn't mean that there isn't news and stuff around F1. So it has been more kind of rule-based stuff, and obviously after Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, there was actually testing at Abu Dhabi in regards to the tyres that Pirelli hope to use in 2020, but the teams are yet to make a decision on that. But yes, we'll get into the news there. But we'll start off with testing in the first story, and that is George Russell topped the last day of testing, and he was driving in the Mercedes, probably obviously best kind of grid, but reaffirming probably that you don't know what testing is doing, but he certainly has a lot of talent. And obviously yes, a lot of people were predicting him to be within that Mercedes car within 2021, so it will be interesting testing that car again. He performed pretty well in it as well, so that's a good start. In regards to the tyres, Romain Grosjean was the only one I've seen come out as a driver and say anything, and he said he's really not sure whether the new tyres are better or not. And that probably isn't a good thing, because the tyres have been so bad for Haas this year. You'd be hoping Romain would be jumping on new tyres. But yes, these ones are still a bit iffy. Teams aren't really too sure. But obviously as well with that Grand Prix, Ocon had his first day as part of the Renault team, so he was excited to be there. And there were a few things. Latifi got his first kind of run out as a proper Williams driver within that, and Nissany, I believe an Israeli driver who used to compete in Formula 2, I think his last season was in 2018 and didn't do great, but he was also testing for Williams as well. But I think that just about rounds off the testing element of things. Moving on to obviously one of the races that were heavily criticised for the value of racing this year, and that was the quality of the race at Paul Ricard in France. And France have taken, well, the French Grand Prix have taken this kind of criticism on board, and they are trying to make changes to the circuits. They put proposed changes forward in terms of changing the layout of the track, trying to improve the racing. And that's all we can ask them to do. They're confirmed on the calendar and they've realised, okay, maybe the track layout isn't as good as what it can be. Massive runoff areas at the French Grand Prix, so plenty of room to kind of move tracks about and try and improve things. So this is a real big positive for me. Whether it does improve the racing, we'll have to wait and see, and whether it goes ahead. But if it does go ahead and they are trying to improve it, that's a big thumbs up from me. Moving on to our third story of the day, and this is in regards to Mercedes. And you may think, well, it's absolutely fantastic for a team to be winning, a team to kind of be accumulating all the points that Mercedes have done to win the championship. Well, yes, obviously it is fantastic, but you come with a financial burden for this in terms of after your initial entry fee, I think it is around about the 446,000 mark as the bog standard entry into Formula 1. You then get charged money on top of that for every point you scored, and then you get charged as well for winning the Constructors' Championship. So yes, Mercedes are the highest paying entry into a Formula 1 season ever. I've got the figure here, and it's quite startling, maybe not in the grand scheme of things because of how expensive F1 is. But yes, Mercedes' total entry fee this year, with all the extras that they have to pay, is $5,490,812, more than $2 million more than the next highest entry fee. I mean, that's incredible. I know within stuff, and we're talking about the budget overall coming in 2021 is 175 million. So in the grand scheme of things, it's probably just a drop in the ocean for Mercedes. But yeah, still an absolutely huge fee to be paying when you're the champion of the sport. But I suppose it's something that they try to use to kind of level out any team dominating, although hasn't really stopped Mercedes to date. But yes, they broke their previous record of highest entry fee from there. Now on to some rule changes. We have the Weighbridge, which was obviously unpopular. Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez both missing the Weighbridge light in Friday practice, were given pit lane starts because of missing it. That rule has now been changed. The wording has been ruled to now it will be referred to the steward. So then the stewards will give out an according penalty for missing that Weighbridge thing. It was obviously came under great scrutiny from the teams, and the FIA have listened and they've changed the rule in that regards. Now on to the next rule change, and this is in relation to the MGU-K. Currently the teams are allowed an allowance of only 2 per season, but this has been changed with the race calendar extending to 22 races. They have allowed more. I think it's still in debate of how many, but I assume they will just add on 1 extra MGU-K that they will be allowed to use. Ferrari actually didn't, all Ferrari powered cars didn't use more than their season allocated 2, but the likes of Red Bull and Renault used more than their allocated amount, and I think I saw Daniel Kvyat had a record of 6 MGU-Ks used within the season. God, he really did have some reliability issues, so yeah, not great for Daniel Kvyat there, but they have allowed it for more next season, so that will be interesting with the strain obviously put on the engines. And the final one that we're going to round off the news with this week is after obviously the debacle that happened in Suzuka, where obviously there was the Perez-Gasly incident that happened on the last lap, but actually it was counted back to Perez still finished the race in the points because there was a problem with the electronic, someone had pressed the button, I think, for the electronic end to end too early. So now, traditionally, going back to tradition, the race will only finally end when the manual checkered flag has been waved. So interesting there. But guys, obviously, news I imagine will be quieter throughout the winter. We're going to try and keep going with the F1 Weekly News Show, even when stuff comes up throughout the winter on Fridays. So yes, I imagine over the Christmas time it might go a little bit quiet, but we'll see. Even when news come to you, we'll make sure that we put out the F1 Weekly News Show for you guys to keep you all up to date with all the latest stuff in F1. And if you've enjoyed the video today, guys, don't forget, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you comment down below on your thoughts on the stories. Do you think the teams will go with the new Pirelli 2020 tyres or there? What did you think of George Russell topping the last test results in the Mercedes car? What do you think of the new rule changes? Do you think they're sensible additions with the calendar extending, or with the extra use on the engines or the Weighbridge? Do you think the penalty was too harsh on that starting from the pit lane? Yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. But if you are new around here, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification, and you can keep up to date with all our latest content, just like this one. But for now, you F1 fans, keep racing!